Hey everyone, it's FinalRound and my name is Jordan, and this video will be for Friday's early set of games. We are almost to the tournament part of the Olympics. Each team has one more game in their group, and then they'll decide which teams make it. It'll be the top two teams from each group, and then the third team from two of the groups will be wild cards for an 8-team playoff. So I know a lot of people aren't too happy with Olympic basketball, but if you want to play it, play it light if you feel like it. Just having fun with it because I find it entertaining. So I'm going to continue to dig up information and do what I can. I know we don't have too much historical data to go off of, but the lines are adjusting to it. So it took a few more unders than normal because that's what I'm seeing. A lot of players aren't getting the normal minutes that they normally would. Like Jokic didn't even play in the fourth quarter of that last game. But like always, I'm going to jump right into it. I'm going to jump into this Brazil versus Japan game. It should be the early game in the morning. Looks like both of these teams are out of it. Sort of. The winner is going to need to win by a lot to move up into that third spot, and they're going to need to have a better point differential than the other two groups, but both of these teams have losses. So it's going to be very, very difficult for them to come through and make it into the tournament unless they have a massive blowout. Japan showed that they can compete by taking France to overtime. Brazil isn't awful. So I'm going to start with my first pick. His name is Josh Hawkinson. I like him over 8.5 rebounds at -125. Josh Hawkinson for Japan during the World Cup, I checked, he was their best player. He was actually scoring like he had like 30-point games and then a decent amount of rebounds. He was like the guy, but now we have Rui in here. We have Watanabe in here. We have some NBA players in here. So his role has kind of diminished a little bit, but he's still rebounding well and he's playing a lot of minutes. That's what I like about him. So he played 36 minutes versus Germany, had 11 rebounds, and then 33 minutes versus France. He had 7 rebounds in regulation and then 1 rebound in overtime. That was versus France with Wemby, and Rudy Gobert was snatching a ton of rebounds. So he went under this line against France, but got 11 against Germany. Now he's going up against Brazil. Against a common opponent, Brazil gave up 8 rebounds to Votman of Germany, who played 20 minutes. They give up 6 rebounds to Mo Wagner, who played 16 minutes, and then Daniel Theis, who had 6 rebounds in 23 minutes, all against Brazil. And now Hawkinson's going to be playing around 36 minutes as long as he doesn't foul out. So very good opportunity here for him to go over rebounds. And then second pick, I know this is at +100, but I feel like you just got to take it. Rui Hachimura over 21.5 points. He has been one of the guys in this tournament, if you will. Just been consistently high volume. He hasn't disappeared or anything like that. So in the very first game against Germany, he played 36 minutes. He dropped 20 points on 4 of 19 shooting. Tough matchup there for him. And then another tough matchup against France. He dropped 24 points in 28 minutes on 10 of 16 shooting. He ended up fouling out in that game. It didn't play in overtime. So now he's going up against Brazil. Much easier matchup than the first two. We can expect him to not shy away from taking a lot of shots. And this is at +100 for 22 plus points. So I'm going to go with the over for Rui Hachimura. It's going to be difficult to take an under on him with just the volume shooting there. And as for a prediction, Japan looked pretty good against France. So I'm going to take Japan, who's actually the underdog, by -2.5 points against Brazil. Their money line is at +120. So I'll just do Japan money line for them to win straight up. Because they do have the best player on the floor, and that's Rui Hachimura. So if you guys could, please like the video, and if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel. If you have a little bit of extra time, could you leave a comment for the algorithm? You can say anything, and it helps. This next game is going to be Greece versus Australia. So Greece, they really need a win here. Australia is already in. Greece is going to need a win, and then they're going to need a lot of help from Canada to beat Spain, and Greece is going to have to win by a nice margin against Australia. My first pick, I'm going to go with Jock Landale over 13.5 points at -115. He's been a huge surprise in the Olympics, scoring 16 points versus Canada and then 20 points versus Spain. He's gone over this both games. Obviously, he is the most efficient player for Australia. They have an efficiency rating on the Olympics website. Also had 12 rebounds and 9 rebounds in the first 2 games. So he's the leading rebounder in the Olympics right now. So you could take his rebounds line if you wanted, or do points plus rebounds. But for a double-double, it's at +170. So I think it's a good shot for a double-double where he missed it one game by 1 rebound. So for +170, probably a good bet for Jock Landale for a double-double, and also over 13.5 points. If you haven't noticed, I'm using Underdog for some of these picks because Underdog just has more options than Prizepicks does. Prizepicks likes to hold out a lot of the good stuff. So I'm showing some Underdog stuff. I do have some Prizepicks stuff later. And as for a prediction, Greece, they have Giannis, but they really don't have much after Giannis. Australia is loaded with talent. I'm going to go with Australia at -5.5 to just solidify themselves in a top spot for this tournament. And Greece did just lose to Spain by 7, and Spain lost to Australia by 12. I know things don't work that way all the time, but still, Greece just doesn't have all the talent. Giannis, his points line is high. I said that last time. I said they bumped it up really high, and with the minutes being down with 10-minute quarters. But like I said, if he gets in any sort of foul trouble, like you get 2 fouls in the first quarter, you pretty much have to sit the whole half because it's 5 fouls and you foul out. He was in a little bit of foul trouble, it looked like, just based off the box score, and he did not go over his points last time. So I'm not going to mess with Giannis because he definitely could do it. And this next game will be Spain versus Canada. A guy I just cannot fade right now is going to be RJ Barrett over 18.5 points. This is at -130. He had 24 points and 23 points in the first 2 games, shooting 60%. Spain can't put all their focus on RJ Barrett defensively because they do have Shea. They do have Jamal Murray, who hasn't been playing that great. Shea's actually been going under his points line. So I can't take the under on him just because it's Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. He could go off for 25 plus. But RJ Barrett has just shown up to France and just been consistent from the get-go, and he's the most efficient player for Canada. And I'm not going to fade his points. And then I do have a Prizepicks play. I'm going to go Lorenzo Brown of Spain, under 21.5 points, rebounds, and assists at -120. So he's a point guard for Spain. And just like I said with Josh Giddey, he's going to be going up against good defenders. Josh Giddey ended up going over by 1 basket with the points, but Josh Giddey's a lot more talented than Lorenzo Brown is. So first game, Lorenzo Brown had 7 points, 2 rebounds, 7 assists. So that's 16 PRA. And then the second game, he had 7 points, 1 rebound, 10 assists. So that's 18 PRA. He needs 22 to go over against Canada with Lou Dort, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, and Dylan Brooks all defending him. It's going to be tough for him, especially in the points department. I was focusing just on points, but I saw Prizepicks did have his PRA. So I don't hate the under at -120. And then another PRA that's on Prizepicks that I do like is Santi Aldama of Spain, over 26.5 PRA at -120. He doesn't get many assists. His points plus rebounds is on Underdog at 25.5. So you're getting 1 extra for the PRA, which he did get 2 assists in the last game, so it helps a little bit. So the first game, he had 35 points, rebounds, and assists. In the second game, he had 33 points, rebounds, and assists. He's scoring very well. He's having some big rebound games, and then he can get an assist here and there. So I do like combining it all and giving that good chance for him to go over. So Santi Aldama over 26 PRA. And for my prediction, Spain, they need to win or they need a very close loss to stay in that third place spot and not have a big point differential. So I'm going to go with Spain at +10 against Canada. Canada hasn't beat anyone by more than 10 points. They beat Australia by 10 exactly. So I'm going to go with Spain +10. They played well against Greece. I can see them keeping it close here. So before I get into this last one, I want to shout out my partners, Underdog Fantasy, Sleeper, ParlayPlay, and ChalkBoard. Use promo code FinalRound11 on any of these. They'll match your first deposit up to $100, and there's links in the description that'll take you straight there with the promo codes, and thank you to anyone who uses those. So his last game is going to be Germany versus France. Looks like both teams are going to be in. They're going to be fighting basically for seeding, but they're going to be in the final tournament. They both won their first 2 games. So I'm going to go with Daniel Theis, or is it Daniel Theis? I think it's Theis. Daniel Theis. He's a 6'8" power forward. I like him for under 16.5 points plus rebounds at -120. He'll be going up against Victor Wembanyama, Rudy Gobert, down low. He had a good game against Japan. He had 18 points and 7 rebounds. And then against Brazil, he had 6 points and 6 rebounds, so went under there. So he's going to play around 20 minutes. He's going to rotate with Mo Wagner and Voltman, who's also a center. It's just going to be very difficult for him to get points, and he's going to have to really fight for rebounds against Rudy Gobert, who went off last game when it came to rebounding, and Victor Wembanyama's long arms going in there and snatching rebounds. And then this last pick, it might not be popular. You can completely fade it if you want to. But it's going to be Victor Wembanyama under 20.5 points. First game, he had 19 points against Brazil. And then second game, he had 18 points versus Japan. But he scored 8 of those in overtime. So he had 10 points in regulation. And he scored all 10 of those, I think it was in the first quarter. Like he got off to a very hot start and then he just disappeared. So I'm going with him on the under. He's playing a good team here with Germany. He definitely will have a good game, but shots get spread around so much in this international basketball, and there's just not that much time. But yeah, Victor Wembanyama going with the under here at 20. At 20.5, I think it's -115. I didn't write it down, the odds. So for prediction, France just hasn't played well. They have Germany at -3 for -110. So a lot of people are actually going with France on this one. I think just for the money line. If you move the spread to 4.5, so a 5-point win for Germany, it's +114. I like that as well. France just hasn't looked good. These two teams just had Japan and Brazil in their pool, so they kind of lucked out. So I have the Discord. Link is in the description. You can hop on in there if you'd like to discuss these lines further. There will be probably some line changes throughout the day because I'm getting this out a day early. And just discussion about all kinds of picks and baseball will be going on, conversation there. And then as far as a recap, for Serbia, Puerto Rico, I did have a Jose Alvarado over 19 points, and then someone said that he got injured in the last game. The box score didn't show it because he played well. He played 32 minutes, but then I checked, and he did come back in, but he did not play well when he came back in. So I took it off, and he did go under, so thank goodness, took that off. Jokic had over 20.5 points, and he went under. He had 14. He did not play in the fourth quarter because it was a blowout. He got a ton of rebounds and a ton of assists, so something to look out for Jokic. He's been passing the ball very well in this tournament. And then I had prediction with Serbia with a 10-point lead at first half, 10 points or more at first half, and that hit. And then I had Anthony Davis for the USA over 7.5 rebounds. He ended up with 8, and that hit. And I had Nouni Omot over 3.5 rebounds. He just refused to get many. He got 1. There was a teammate of his who ended up with like 10, who's just snagging all of them. And Nouni Omot ended up being like the high scorer for South Sudan. So just had the wrong stat category. And then for the prediction, I had first half total points for the United States at 55.5, and they actually hooked at 55. Kevin Durant missed some free throws, and that was heartbreaking. So it was 2-3. Not great, but it is what it is, and we will move on to the next day. So that took a lot of time, dig up all those notes and everything, even getting deeper into this. It took up the most time, those very first couple of days. I spent hours trying to research these teams, and now we're here, and I'm trying to go off the box scores of what has happened here and how the guys are playing. It wasn't as easy with only one game. Hopefully we get a better read after seeing them for 2 games. So hope you all do well. God bless you. It's Final Round. My name is Jordan. I will catch you on the next one. Bye.